Smoak.
All right, here we go. Joined by Baylor's Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades, Tuesdays at 4:20. Today he was kind of busy. He's busy now, but somehow we continue to get lucky with the segment with Coach Mack Rhoades. I just said Coach Mack Rhoades. I did. So you have meetings. That's what you do. You have a lot of them. And now you have, what is it, City Council, Commissioner's Court, all of that. Yummy.
Yeah, no, it was a great meeting, and we were invited, both Dr. Livingstone and I, to participate, to present, and so grateful to the mayor and to Bradley Ford and Waco City Council and the Clinton County Commissioner's Court, and meeting went well, and we had an opportunity to talk about the pavilion.
Mac, what's it like to finally get to announce the pavilion location, all the details about seating and all that? Because you've only been able to really talk about it in little bits and pieces for the last year or so.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like the project now is more of a reality than ever before. I'll be, probably most happy when we break ground and actually see the construction fences going up and all of that. But it's the last several days, and then tonight's city council vote. They've been just really important days in terms of this realization of the project and where it will be located, and we can now begin to look forward to working on some of the additional details that we need to work on, and constructing what I think will be one of the best venues in the entire country to watch college basketball. And I think we hit it out of the park with McLean Stadium, and we're hoping to do the same with the Foster Pavilion.
So, Mac, one note I saw: the largest economic development in Waco history, $700 million, and obviously Baylor and the city going in. Can you just describe kind of the decision process on the location itself? Because I know that was a lot of talk over the last year, was where would it actually be? How did you guys finally land on where you landed, and what was it about the relationship with the city and being able to work with them that kind of helped this process along?
Yeah, so there's Craig, I appreciate the question. There's a lot to that, and there were a lot of different factors that you obviously contemplate and vet, and obviously cost is one of them, and when you turn a facility from a basketball only venue to a multi-purpose venue, and you change location, and that site location is a little bit more complicated. You don't own the land that you're going to build it on, right? Those additional costs. Does that make sense for you? And because of what the city is going to contribute, it certainly made sense for us. I think about just, the responsibility that Baylor has to the Waco community, in the city of Waco. And, can we partner and do that where, we're not compromising anything, when we think about our basketball programs and what's best for our student athletes first and foremost, and our coaches. And still have this partnership and do something that, or be part of something. You talked about the economic development when this process is completed, not just the pavilion, but the other pieces of the riverfront. But so you think about just the benefit that is for the Waco community. And I think, Baylor, we have a responsibility, for that as well. And, the city's been a great partner in terms of those discussions and conversations. And, you think about this meshing of Baylor and downtown. And, I used the word earlier, vibrancy and, creating an area that's, adjacent to campus or an extension of campus now, that's really vibrant, is going to be active with people. And, I think when you're recruiting students, and when you're recruiting student athletes, that plays a factor. Certainly talk to our head coaches, about that. So those are all things that you think about. Obviously, there's been a lot of discussion about, or conversation about, safety of going from Baylor campus and I-35. And, obviously we wouldn't have considered a project. I think this institution has done an unbelievable job, long before, all of us have been here, but they've always done an unbelievable job in terms of, the safety and, of our students. And so we feel really, really good about that. And people actually, our students getting to the pavilion. And, I think you all know that, where our residence halls are on campus, it's actually closer to that location, than it is to the, Farrell Center parking lot. So just a lot of careful thought. Can we accommodate parking? Can we accommodate ingress, egress? And, I think there's a lot of different approaches that, you'll be able to take to the venue, not just off of I-35, but you can get to it, other ways. And, we feel really confident in terms of the parking with the multiple parking garages and some of the street, city street parking and surface parking, and think, we'll have as much or more parking available than if we were to build it in the Farrell Center site. So all of those things are certainly part of the consideration. And I think, we're headed in a good place.
You came up with a specific capacity like 7,500. I know that had to be a number that bounced back and forth. The basketball attendance around the country has been in a decline for quite some time. You have this national championship program, yet again, you rarely win over 10,000 inside the Farrell Center. How much of a leeway of that number did you kind of bounce back and forth to make it comfortable where you felt like it was always going to be filled?
Yeah, I mean, the number was, the number of 6,000 was talked about frequently. And, you think about Gonzaga, Baylor feels like we've swapped, in terms of that number one spot over the last, couple years, 3 years. And, and I think their venue is in the fives. And so we had a lot of discussion. I mean, quite frankly, the six, just gut feel for me seemed a little bit small. We talked, as high as probably 8,000, and had a lot of conversation about fixed seats and standing room only. And I think we landed in a great place when you think about home court advantage. And look, we've talked about it. Big 12 coaches voting, about the hardest places to play in the Big 12 and ranking Farrell Center ninth. And, you mentioned it. It's a great home court advantage when we fill it up. But unfortunately, we don't do that every game. And when you think about your season ticket base, and certainly a good percentage in Waco, but also a good percentage, in the Metroplex area and in Austin and in Houston. And so weekday games are tougher, harder for some. And so, trying to create this sustainability of having a capacity, crowd, all 18 home games versus 3 or 4, and really, creating this phenomena of this is the place to be, and we can't wait, until game day to go purchase a ticket. And this is going to be, a venue that has unbelievable energy and just a great place to be, and provide a great home court advantage for both our men's and women's teams.
Mack Rhoades, Baylor Director of Athletics, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Last time you were with us, you mentioned that there had been discussions and details had been agreed to involving Dave Aranda and a contract moving forward. Has that changed much at all? Is the ink wet, dry, or still not on the paper?
Yeah, we're still working through some of the details, and everything is good, great. It just takes some time to take it from a spreadsheet term sheet into language. I mean, that's the essence of contract work when you think about head coach contracts, and so it's just we're in that process, but all is in great shape, and it's a matter of when we can just finally complete that process.
I know sometimes you have to go through some human resources on hiring. I know it's not official, but what did you think about China Spring and Brian Bell winning a state championship in football?
I thought that Coach Bell winning the state championship was awesome. Loved it. So happy for him. I know that his brother was really, and so was Dad. But seriously, what a great family. Number one, just a wonderful family, and happy for all of them really winning a state championship, and happy for Brian. And I'll say this: I think there'll be a day soon when he'll be a Baylor family member.
There you go. So, yeah. I thought I could position it the way I did.
No, and we look that we're I know Coach Aranda, and I'm certainly speaking on behalf of Coach Aranda, but there are no favors there, and there'll be a time when Coach joins, Coach Joe, the other Coach Bell joins our staff, and it's because he'll be an unbelievable addition to our staff.
Mac, I did want to ask you about the stadium. How important was location close to our studio? Because clearly you did. That was we're very thrilled about that. It's very close to where we are.
Yeah, it was certainly on the list. Maybe just right outside the top 10. But it was no doubt on the list. Always trying to accommodate the three of you.
Is Baylor going to build an Humphrey Bridge too, so we can just walk straight from here, right across the Brazos to the Pavilion?
Yeah, well, on the fine print, we felt like we'd leave that to you all to figure out.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a bridge or a pontoon boat that you're up the river on.
Mac, there's so much good stuff going on, and I'll end on a good note ultimately, but to bring the mood down a little bit right now, there is this COVID issue popping up again. Not that it's ever really gone away, but your women's basketball team just had a game canceled because the opponent is dealing with it, and we've seen cancellations all across pro and college sports. It's not new. We went through this, last couple of years, but from your end and your standpoint, has anything really changed? Like, kind of how are you dealing with, as an athletic department, all of the twists and turns that can come with COVID once again?
Yeah, so I appreciate the question. Today the Big 12 athletic directors met, and I'll tell you that, this is probably the first time that we really talk about COVID protocol in I'm not going to say in a while because that sounds like 6 months, but certainly in the last couple months. And so what that tells you is we're right in the middle of it, and it's the reality, and we're beginning to have conversations about forfeiture versus cancellation and minimum threshold, and what is it gonna what's it going to be required to play a game versus cancel a game. And so unfortunately it gives you a sick stomach because those are the conversations that you had a year ago. We're talking about reality of going to New Orleans with a football team, and are there extra precautions that we're going to take? And so those conversations are extremely active right now as we speak. But again, glass half full. In trying to glass half full is, I don't think it's a matter of if, but when, COVID, becomes even a larger impact in college athletics here in the next, couple weeks to 4 weeks. You're seeing it across the country. You're seeing it in the NFL, and so, but the good news is look, we've experienced it. We've dealt with it before, and so we'll be prepared to mitigate and manage as best we can.
Last thing, Mac, and I appreciate your time, and we do a little bit later, that you have 2 assistant coaches from the athletic department now running Power 5 programs within the conference, with Jason Williams now doing the head coaching job at TCU from your staff, and then also with Joey McGuire at Texas Tech. What does that say about Baylor Athletics?
Smoak, I appreciate you asking that question. I really do, because I think that's a testament to the kind of people we have, and we're having this success that we're having, and I know it sounds like a broken record. We're having the success that we're having because of the people, and to take that even one step further. Those 2 assistants, and so happy for Jason, well deserved. And obviously I'm not leaving out Joey, but we talked about Joey 3 or 4 weeks ago, and certainly happy for him. But, to even think about, those are 2 rivals, with your own conference that hired Baylor assistant coaches, Power 5 to be Power 5 head coaches. So again, it's just, it's a testament to the great people we have. It's a testament to Dave Aranda and to Ryan McGuire, and again, excited for both of them to have that opportunity. And I'd prefer it would have been in other leagues, quite frankly. But that's part of it when you have great people and you want them to move on and to grow. It's hard to say that you can't do that within your own conference.
Mac, I think we're going to talk to you probably later in the week, next week potentially, but just in case, I mean, looking at the year 2021 in Baylor Athletics and all that has gone on, I mean, from a men's national title, being the headliner, football winning a Big 12 championship, various other championships won by other sports as well. You've got now the location and the plans locked down for the Foster Pavilion and the football facility, and there's the Welcome Center that's being built on campus right now. The NCAA investigation came to an end. A&T national champs once again. You hired Nikki Collin. You hired a new soccer coach. I mean, and I could go on. I mean, start talking about All-Americans and all of that, but just when you think about 2021 and try to wrap your head around what's obviously been a banner year for Baylor, just what's it been like when you hear just a smidgen of the stuff that's occurred in the last year alone?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I certainly, just to hear you say those things right now, I sit there and go, wow, that's pretty cool, because quite frankly, I don't think any of us, I know I certainly don't take a whole lot of time to think about that stuff. And I always worry, and this is, maybe this is just my paranoia, quite frankly, that if I'm spending time thinking about those things, then I'm not spending time thinking about moving forward and how do we get better and do things better and still compete at the highest level. And so it has been a phenomenal year. We haven't released it yet, but this fall semester academically, we had every single one of our sports programs with a 3.0 or above. Never been done in the history of Baylor. Our football team had a cum GPA of 3.04, the first time ever over a 3.0. Women's basketball 3.06, first time ever over 3.0. Men's basketball 3.14, first time ever over a 3.0. And I can go on and on about all of our other sports and what our student athletes did this fall semester. And so it continues, and that's the metaphor, the analogy of you get over the high bar. What do? You raise it, and then you fight, scratch, claw, work hard to get over that new height, and you continue to do that. And so that's what we're trying to do. I think our biggest challenge, quite frankly, is to remain humble, to know and understand always for His glory, and for us to keep our edge. And I'll say this, I know that 2021 has been a really a good year for Baylor Athletics, and again because of our people. But I still believe our best days are ahead, and I'll continue to always believe that.
Mac, thank you. Appreciate your time, and we'll see you in New Orleans. Sugar Bowl coming up, and I hope everything between now and then stays great and safe. See you. Have a happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, and happy rest of the week. And thank you again for your time.
Hey, just know that we're implementing bed checks for the radio crew as well. So,
you hear that, Paul?
Oh dear,
you hear that, Paul?
Listen, Q's not my roommate this time around, so I think I'll be a little bit better off. So
yeah, sure you will. Thank you, Mac. Merry Christmas, Mac Rhodes.
See you and the Baylor family. Bye-bye.
You too. So he did confirm, again, they have to go through the human resources protocol paperwork. Brian Bell, I think it's safe to say Brian Bell will soon be a part of the Baylor football family. One hell of a coach, one comes from a great family. And then on the day veranda, all of the things, the spreadsheet, the details, all of the numbers have been worked out. It's just a matter, it still takes time to put it in writing and then have it with wet ink and then dry ink, but that's just more just a week later from what he told us last week.
Dave Aranda's the head coach of Baylor. He's going to be the head coach of Baylor, and there was a time during the carousel we kind of wondered with job after job after job after job, and I could say that 10 more times and not even fill all the jobs that opened up. But when all of that was happening, not just the fact that jobs were opening up, because obviously 90% of them he's not going to be interested in, but the number of big schools that were up for grabs. He was thrown around in a lot of those conversations, whether, there was ever anything to it or not. And we know in some cases there was not. There was literally just a reporter going, hey, how about this guy for this job? This would make sense. He's from here, even though, Oregon and Southern California are not the same thing or place. But, he's going to be around, and look forward to seeing what the final details are as much as we can for a private school with that contract, because we're not going to get it like like a records request at a public university. But, I got a couple other college football notes I want to squeeze in at some point as far as the transfer portal goes.
Do them now because we have John McClain and then top five.
But I wanted to go back over what I just said to Mac. The NCAA investigation that lasted for 5 years finally came to an end. They've got the Welcome Center that's going to be right there on the forefront of campus that's broken ground and is just, creating more chaos around campus, but for the good ultimately. They hired a new women's basketball coach, ending an era. They hired a new soccer coach, ending another era. They Big 12 title in football, various other Big 12 titles, national championship in A&T, and obviously men's basketball. You had the men's tennis team that played for a couple national titles, both indoor and outdoor over the last year. Just All-Americans. Just crazy. What a year. What a dadgum year it's been. And all the things that have either come to a close or are beginning anew. It's pretty crazy that we're at the end of 2021, but man, what a ride it's been for Baylor Athletics, certainly. All right, so a couple of notes that are of interest from the transfer portal. Kedon Slovis, former USC quarterback, he has announced his destination. This will make at least one of our listeners I know very happy, but he's headed to Pitt. He's going to go pick up where Kenny Pickett left off, I guess, and he saw something that he liked in what the Panthers were doing. And so Kedon Slovis, who I know had a great relationship with Graham Harrell out there at USC, but obviously that's changing over to the Lincoln Riley regime. So Slovis on his way out, and he's going to be playing for Pitt.
His girlfriend is a soccer player at Pitt.
There you go.
The Adrian Martinez to Kansas State connection.
So Kenny Pickett, actually, you were not a factor. It's the girl. No, I'm sure seeing Kenny Pickett have success though didn't hurt at all. So yeah, Kedon Slovis to Pitt. Also, another very interesting transfer portal addition. UTEP wide receiver Jacob Cowing has entered his name into the transfer portal. A lot of people aren't going to know who Jacob Cowing is because I know not a lot of people follow UTEP football, but doing the Earl Campbell, Tyler Rose Award stuff, he was right there. Semifinalist, had a monster year for the Miners, and had 1,300 yards and 7 touchdowns. But like over the course of his career, he's got well over 2,000 yards. So he'll be an interesting addition. Not a big guy, just 5'11", 170, but an Arizona native. So maybe that comes into play. I don't know, but very good player. So I'm curious. I definitely think he will take a step up. But that's one to keep an eye on is Jacob Cowing. And then also there was this. Multiple sources, and I don't know now where I got this from, but it's out there. It might have been Feldman or somebody, but multiple sources confirmed Georgia quarterback JT Daniels tested positive for COVID-19 and has entered quarantine ahead of UGA's semifinal with Michigan. Other members of the UGA quarterback room are in close contact protocol but have continued to test negative so far, and they will continue daily testing. But that's obviously, obviously very notable with the semifinals right around the corner.
Desmond Jackson, Oklahoma State running back, has entered the transfer portal. And also, finally, one more. Georgia Tech running back Jahmyr Gibbs, pretty good player, transfers to Alabama,
where he'll start next year right away. That's a big – he was one of the top 5 players in the portal, and now he's going to Alabama. He and Eli Ricks alone. I mean, they wouldn't have to do anything else. It's unbelievable.
When we come back, we will hear from John McClain, Hall of Fame writer. John McClain, Sikkim 365 Radio, and 365 Sports is next. All right, so you're